everyone. Welcome to Across the Bifrost, the Mighty Thor podcast, where on each and every episode we explore the world of Marvel's Mighty Thor. I am one of your hosts, Ryan Doze, joined by Eric Teskey. Eric and I are ready to just talk about Thor comics, normal stuff that we talk about here on every episode. Eric, are you excited for this very normal, very regular episode of the premier Thor podcast on the internet?
Absolutely. Just the two of us hanging out, talking about a totally normal episode, chiming in with our lukewarm takes on some of the best Thor comics around. Like
Thor comics, turns out they're still good.
Yeah.
And there's very few that are terrible. Hopefully there's nobody that feels like making a run-in right now to disrupt this very normal routine that we've got going.
Yeah, I can't imagine if somebody was gonna hold this normal comic talk show hostage, what they would be waiting for, because we can totally just keep doing this.
Vamping is kind of our thing.
Okay, I'm sorry, I can't do it anymore. Hello, everybody.
Wait.
The shockingly mortal Faz is here to save you from this lukewarm Thor discussion. That's right, bitches. We're doing Tales of Fazgard 4. Let's go. You guys went on for a while. I thought, Ryan, you were going to immediately pivot
let us
to
do
me.
this.
So because you didn't pivot to me, I was like, all right, now I need to see what these guys are going to do. And then you just kept going. So muted myself and let it happen.
And that is called acting.
Improv.
At the theater. Oh, Faz, what do you got for us?
Well, I think you got to ask me the questions, man. I've been doing a lot of stuff recently. What is it you need to know? You've come to the All-Fazer and you've requested a boon. You've requested a story. Please make your request heard, and the All-Fazer shall grant your wish.
Okay, so the fact that you said we have a boon with you, you really have been trying to read all the Thor comics ever.
It's been a lot of Odin recently.
So we know that summer and late or early fall is usually pretty busy for you on the con circuit with the cosplay. But a few weeks back, you got back from New York Comic-Con, and to say that you had a big Comic-Con this year, I know there was some disappointments, there were some surprises. How, broad strokes, what happened in New York Comic-Con, and then we can pick apart the few things that we already know about, but we want listeners to kind of come on inside this trip you went on that was truly jealousy inducing.
So this trip was the most comic con that I would say that I've been to. There's just so many more artists and writers that I know now. Every year that I go to one of these, I've got a bigger kind of breadth. And this year with the Summer of Superman, I've fallen very deeply down a Hope Core rabbit hole. So there were a lot of Superman people I wanted to meet, in addition to, the usual amount of Thor people that I want to meet. And, Walt wasn't there. So there wasn't the greatest artist of all time at this convention. But there were a bunch of truly amazing artists at this convention, along with a bunch of tremendous writers, some very cool set pieces, some great costumes, and one disappointment in the form of Nicholas Hoult, Lex Luthor himself, who pulled the most Lex Luthor thing you could do, and 2 or 3 days before the Comic-Con canceled. Which, gotta respect it. Method actors gotta method act.
Actors gotta method act.
In truth, he had hip surgery or knee surgery that hasn't healed properly yet, so he literally can't walk. So getting to New York, but again, Lex Luthor could take a private jet and have somebody wheel him around. So I'm just saying.
He would have worked like Professor X, though. That would have been really funny.
But that's okay because James McAvoy was here too. The two of them could have taken photos together, and it would have been quite the experience. Yeah.
Oh, McAvoy.
So, no, it was. McAvoy was there. Elliot Page was there. They were going to be doing a big Days of Future Past reunion, and then obviously Nicholas Hoult ruined that. So the other ones were still there. But
bastard.
The other thing that happened was the night before the Comic-Con. So I had 2 reasons, listeners, that I wanted to go to this con, apart from the fact that it's New York Comic-Con and I go every year. Number 1, Lex Luthor in my Superman costume. Number 2, I wanted a piece of Dan Mora art. And Dan Mora was one of the showpiece artists that was going. To the point that I had VIP this year. So I get early access to everything. I got front row seats to everything. I could get into everything that I'd ever want to do. for a price. And the night before the Comic-Con, Dan Mora announced on his social media that he was very ill and he probably was going to have to cancel. So the night before the con, not only did I miss out on Nicholas Hoult, but the second reason for going, Dan Mora, was taken from me cruelly, which was quite devastating and, stabbed me in the Fazgardian heart. Now, the thing that did help was we bought tickets to Game 5 of the Yankees and Blue Jays.
Yeah.
Because the Yankees were getting close to being eliminated. So because of that, the tickets were very cheap. And then they won a game, so we actually got to go. And we did watch them, and the Blue Jays eliminated them, and that was good. So we got that. It was good. But devastated Comic-Con situation. Still going to get there early. Hope for the best. And then, hopefully Dan Mora will be able to show up at some point.
Yeah.
So that's the prelude. Those are the two main things that I was shooting for, Ryan. Any follow-up questions that you'd like to ask the great Oracle to tell you about the tales of Fazgard?
And that's Oracle spelled Orikal.
You are correct. I'm big in metallic, sort of,
And I show up very, very sparingly and in very, where I can only help in a most contrived way.
But also, when I'm there, it's 8 issues in a row, and then you won't see me for 150 issues.
Exactly, right. Someone is going to get that reference and be like, slight chuckle, moving on. Yeah. Eric, when Faz was telling us all these things he was going to do, was there any specific thing you were super jealous of him? Because I know I had things I was jealous of. I always do when Faz goes to a con. But what about you?
I just keep thinking about all the different things that you try to squeeze into a trip. It's mind-boggling. I would be my mind would be jelly on the sidewalk because you're doing photo shoots, you're meeting people, you're talking to Thor creators, you're getting original art done. What was probably your main priority? I guess you kind of told us the Mora.
Yeah, so main priority was Mora and Holt, but also I got to shoot. I did a photo shoot with this photographer. His name is Jason LeBoy, who does work for Marvel and DC and works for New York Comic Con and other cons like that. And I got to do a couple photo shoots with him, both as Superman and as Ultimate Thor, which was a highlight because he's someone I wanted to work with for a while. But the reason why I can do all the things, my dear Hercules, is because I too am a prince of preparedness. I may not be the prince of preparedness, but I do make a spreadsheet and I kind of list all the things I want to do. I check all the artist websites to make sure, or their Instagram pages, when they're going to be signing things so I can be there. One of the benefits of VIP this year was I didn't have to wait in any lines for the panels. So it didn't have to be didn't have to pick and choose. I could just go on the Saturday, for example, they did DC Comics, followed by Marvel TV, followed by DC TV, followed by Marvel Comics, back to back to back to back. And anybody who doesn't have VIP would have to pick one or two of those things. But because I had VIP, I had free access to all of those things whenever I wanted to in the front rows. But yeah, the big thing is a big spreadsheet that lists okay, so Rafa Sandoval is signing at noon on Thursday, and Joshua Williamson is going to be at his booth at 4 p.m. on Friday. That kind of stuff mixed in with any panels, any other scheduled stuff that I want to do. Jeez. And without VIP, last year I had a lot less I could do. I couldn't do as many panels because I was in lines, whereas this year it was a lot more, I just have to be there right when the panel starts, or late. I could show up late and they have to save seats for me. So I could do whatever I want that way. Yeah.
Now I want to hear a little bit more about the photo shoots, and then I want to hear about anything that you're allowed to tell us that you talk to any Thor creators, past or present. But with the photo shoots, I imagine you can squeeze more out of the day because you said that there's the shockingly short photo shoots. You're not spending 6 hours trying to find the right angle for photos. You're in and out in 30 minutes or something?
Yeah. So this guy, Jason, he's a complete pro. The Superman, we got about 56 shots in about 15 to 20 minutes, including walking over to the locations. All of them are bangers. And then he gets the color grading like the movie, and it looks just crazy. And Thor, because it was all in one location, took literally 3 minutes and 50 seconds to get 30 photos.
Wow.
So it was literally just, K got it, pose, K got it, pose, K got it, pose, just moving around to do what we needed to do. So those two things were crazy. I also did a third photo shoot with one of my good friends. Her name is Silhouette Cosplay. She's a Loki cosplayer. And we shot with her girl, who is this photographer she's worked with lots of times, who is fantastic. And the biggest time for that was walking to the location, which was 15 minutes away. But then again, 15 minutes of K got it, K got it, K got it, do a bunch of team up stuff. Spoiler alert, Silhouette does die in my arms at one point because it was a Dark World photo shoot. So we really hit all of the important Thor and Loki stuff. So working with these people that are like very high quality in New York. Last year I did a lot of they have these tunnel photographers at New York Comic Con where there's like 50 people in a row and they all give you like free photo shoots and you don't need to organize them ahead of time and you can just get a couple photos. And most of those photos were unsatisfactory for me. Or I just never got some back because they just didn't get around to them. Whereas these people were extremely professional, extremely cheap, and extremely high quality. So my biggest takeaway from that was I tried the thing last year where they were all kind of free and fun. They were bad. So now I want the like pay a little bit for the highest quality that you can get and make sure they're really good. Now, in terms of creators, though, or actually, Ryan, did you have a follow up for the?
Well, I just like what I noticed about because you oftentimes before you post something, you'd be like, "Hey, this is coming up. I'm going to put this up," just so like we can kind of get hyped up. And I noticed the Ultimate Thor ones from this year's New York Comic Con, they just felt like they popped more. They felt more. I don't want to say more professional because I know you've worked with a lot of different people that have done really good work. They just hit different. And I think when you got those back, was it just like, oh, I feel like this is like a next level kind of thing?
He just like Jason really gets the color grading to make them like how they feel in the movies. And he also like the other thing that's crazy about him is like I had all the Superman photos by like 7 p.m. that day. And we shot at like 2 p.m. And I had all the Thor by like 8 p.m. that night, and we shot at 4 p.m. that day. Like it's extremely fast turnaround because it's mainly his main edits or color grading. He's got kind of the framing down already, and he doesn't do a lot of the like. He won't remove a bunch of hair to make it like smoother. He won't do any of the like AI smoothing that people do. He just gives you with the color grading that you want in the framing that you want. Which is my preferred because I want the suit to show and I want me to show. I don't want it to look like it's an edit. If I want an edit, I'll get an edit, which I work with all the time, right?
Yeah, you've done many times. Yeah. Okay. I just the photos just seemed a little bit no discredit to anybody, but like I've notched up.
I've worked with some amazing people. These ones were crazy. Like my thought was like, do I come to New York Comic Con and just spend a day with 8 costumes and shoot with him the whole time instead of actually doing the con for one of the days? Because it was just so so impressive that I was like, if I could bring it all, I would to have him shoot everything, right? Because the tone and the feel was so impressive.
Just a quick follow up. I don't think I've actually ever flat out asked you this question, and we've been friends for a while now, so I might as well. When you're taking photos in cosplay, what part of your brain, like your nerd brain, does that activate the most? Because like, why are you, other than your account, like I get it from the account point of view, but why is Christopher Fazio wanting to do these photos for this cosplay?
So I think the first question you ever asked me on this podcast was a variation of this, because you first brought me on as a guest cosplayer. Like, why do you do what you do? Right?
Remember when you used to be a guest?
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah. When I went to take over and Kool-Aid Man in and be like, "Tales of Fazgard, bitches." So for me, like, I love the characters, and I grew up as a stage actor and as a independent film actor, right? So I like inhabiting the role. I like literally cosplaying, right? Like playing the character in a costume. And I really like my first couple cons, it was a whole bunch of like kids were coming for the first time and they got to like meet Thor, and that meant a lot to them. And like at every con I go to, there's at least 2 or 3 people that are wearing a like Mjolnir necklace or are named Thor and are very excited to meet me. And if their name is Thor 2 and they lift the hammer, it's like a core memory for that 8-year-old kid. Like, that's what I really like doing. The photo shoots are more, for me and for the account that like I want to feel like the character, and I want to kind of pay homage to the great creators that have done either movies or comics or TV shows about the character. So like really like what's going through my head with Thor at this point is muscle memory. I've done Thor so many times that it's more just like hitting the right poses. Superman, I've been doing more recently, so I need to get more in the thought process because it's more like a man, I feel cool. I've got like kind of my hands are on my hips and I'm good. And then Cynthia will tell me afterwards, like, yeah, but Superman's hands are in fists when they're on their hips. You were just holding your hips, and I'd be like, damn it, I felt cool, you know. Whereas Thor will be like
sexy as fuck. But
yeah, still look good, but it wasn't the exact pose, right? Whereas Thor is like, I got to put this much weight on my left leg. I got to raise the hammer in this way and put my arm in a certain spot if I'm going to raise it, right? Or if I'm going to hold it here, I've got to make sure it's at a certain spot so it's not covering my face with the hammer. Like there's things that, because I've done 150 Thor shoots at this point,
Jesus.
that I and that's an exaggeration, but probably not by much, that I think through when doing Thor, and then it'll be like, well, you got to make sure your face looks right and the eyes, and that's something that Jason was really good at. Being like, you've got all the pose, but your face is kind of normal. So try to like add a little anger to it. Like you just told me that Thor is fighting Loki, right? So like get in that mindset, right? So working with someone who thinks those things through is really helpful too. Because firstly, he'll be like, raise the hammer slightly further. Perfect. That's it. Right. And then he'll be like, now give me a snarl, give me an angry face. And then it'll make it work.
Okay. Awesome.
Like a director bringing out more of the performance. Yeah.
A lot more like a director. A lot of the cosplay photographers I work with are like wedding photographers or like other types of photographers by trade. And they do this as kind of a hobby, right? And they do a really good job, but they're not always like, I've shot people who wear capes in this particular location literally hundreds of times. This is what I need you to change to make the pose pop. It's a lot more of a kind of ebb and flow, and it's still very good and we still get incredible shots, but you can't do it in 10 minutes when they're not quite that locked in.
Yeah, locked in is what I was thinking. Yeah. Okay. But I know you were about to move on to creators and answer Eric's actual question.
Yeah. So creator wise, I think it probably makes sense to go through on kind of a list of the people that I met and what happened with each of them.
The hottest comic book artist that we've ever seen.
I got to meet the two of them. Friends of the show and longtime listeners will know that we debate who the hottest DC artist is, and I got to see them in person, and I can weigh in on that. Yeah, up close first. I touched both of them, or I guess more accurately, they touched me.
With permission. With permission.
Yeah. That's why I said they touched me. It's, I didn't initiate any touching. So the first day, like I said, the first thing I did was get in line for Dan Mora. He was not there. His handler was. And his handler was like, yeah, Dan is quite unwell, but he's going to try to come in the afternoon. So I'll remember you, Superman. And I was like, I don't love that, because anytime I've gotten art in the past at a convention, I've had to put my name down and my number and what I wanted and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
I didn't do that with him because he was going on his way. He had nothing to write anything down on. So I was nervous. But I went about my business, and I was really bummed about Dan because he was saying like he's probably not going to sketch anything. He might not even sign anything. He might just be physically there because he has a panel at like 5 p.m. or something. So I went to cheer myself up. So I wandered around to see who was there that I knew. And Rafa Sandoval was there, who we are all big fans of, the absolute Superman artist. And I gave him my noir cover blank, more on that later, to do what he will with it. And we had a lot of fun because he didn't want to like charge me what he charges because he knows me. And his company had a real hard time with that because they didn't have a button in the system to make it work. So they had to kind of make it work. So
the cash register doesn't do that.
Yeah, because they was literally like a thing. Like I couldn't pay in cash. Obviously, it had to be anyway. So they figured it out.
I love that.
I went on my way. I saw Al Ewing, had him sign my books, but I was dressed in Superman, so I didn't spend a lot of time with Al. I figured that would be a later on in the convention thing when I was dressed the part. I went around a circle, and the shortest line that it would be in the entire convention was Russell Dauterman, because his line was so long that the only time that it was approachable was Thursday morning before most people had come in. It was still like 6 people long, but it wasn't like 60, so we'll call that a big win. Russell was legitimately the longest one behind Nick Dragotta, because Russell hasn't done a con in so long that he was spending time talking to everybody. Yeah. And Nick, everybody wanted to get Absolute Batman signed, obviously. So Russell was a huge highlight of the con because he remembered me, he remembered us, he spoke very highly of us, and it was great to catch up with someone who I think we consider a real friend of the show. Like I still message Russell pretty relatively.
I messaged him today.
Right? Like when he posts new Thor art, we always congratulate him, like stuff like that. Like he's a true friend of the show, and it's awesome to get to meet him in person and kind of chat with him a little bit. He had a ball from what I can gather. He and Al had dinner one of the nights, like just like dream stuff,
Real quick, Baz, like with our interactions with Russell, I was really glad when you told us, like, oh my gosh, you remembered us and all that, because as many people listening to this know, like, he is my favorite Thor artist of all time.
Legitimately, yeah. We are huge Russell Dauterman people on this podcast.
And to meet him and for him to in no way be a jerk or be, you know, oh, I'm just waiting to get out of here. He would, like, when I believe it was Eric and I that got to interview him. I don't remember who exactly.
I was there.
Okay.
Eric, did you get to join for that one?
I don't think
Russell?
I was. No.
No.
Oh.
Might have been pre-Eric's true ascension.
Yeah. We went for the right word. Yes.
Yeah.
His what was it? What's the thing in Simonson's Thor where they crown Balder as king? The all thing.
The all thing
The all
before
thing. Yeah.
before Eric's all thing. Yeah.
But just for Russell to be like the coolest dude, like both in person as an artist, like today I just messaged him. I was like, hey, this Avengers 800 cover is going to kick all the ass. And like, you've outdone yourself, which is saying a lot.
Speaking of that, I realized I haven't read Avengers in like 5 issues despite still pulling it. So I'm going to stop pulling it, but I have to get through all of his variant covers first and then I'll stop pulling it.
Anyway, Russell Dauterman always kind of distracts me. So sorry.
Yep.
And it doesn't
Russell
surprise
was
me
awesome.
that Dragotta is killing it at cons right now.
Yeah. Something else on Russell while I'm thinking of it. The last day they did a Stormbreaker panel for Stormbreakers past and present, and Russell was on that. So it was really nice to listen to kind of the things that kind of he's grateful for, the opportunities he's gotten to have, talking about his love of fashion and design and also superheroes, getting to do the X-Men with the Hellfire Gala and how that's like his 2 favorite interests come together is very, very cool. Obviously talking about how much Thor meant to him and how much Mighty Thor meant to him and how much the movie took from that, which was really cool. Like a lot of really, really interesting stuff was said by Russell there. And also, you know, like Adi Granov was there and he talked about designing Iron Man and stuff like that. So like there were a lot of really cool people at that panel. You know, minor thing he did where he and Jon Favreau were best friends for 6 months or whatever, right?
Whatever.
Yeah, so that was Russell. Let me just want to make sure. Oh, Thursday was also DC had this meetup where a bunch of DC cosplayers took photos in front of their booth. So I did that. And while I was there, the sexiest man in comics, Jorge Jimenez, was there. And he was just kind of like signing giant posters. So, you know, when in Rome, you get a giant Jorge poster. And then we took a couple photos and I learned that his partner is equally attractive to him, which makes perfect sense. The two of them didn't make sense at this Comic-Con with a bunch of sweaty nerds
sense.
and then just Jorge and the most attractive. Yeah, anyway. And then I circled back.
Sexiest man alive and sexiest woman alive.
And then I circled back to the Mora booth. Mora still wasn't there, but the guy was like, Superman, I see you. And he had the list and it was all the way filled out. But the top one just said, Superman, please get info. So he did remember me and he put me at the very top of the list. So I was able to hand in my Superman blank, ask for what I wanted. I asked for a corn sweat Superman because that's what I was wearing. But then I just like went about my business, but I put like his choice in brackets around it.
Yeah.
And then I went about my business because again, he wasn't going to be there today. He wasn't going to draw and he wasn't even going to sign. It's just that at some point they were going to get it to him and hopefully during the con he'd get time to it. But they didn't take any money or anything because they didn't think it was guaranteed that he would get to it, even though I was number 1 on the list. So the end of the Thursday, we did a bunch of like panels and whatnot, and I just went back down there to see what was going on. And to my surprise, Dan Mora was there.
What?
And not only was Dan Mora there, but Dan Mora had already sketched my Superman. So I have this beautiful half-page Superman, very comic style, very, very, very happy with it. The most Dan Mora Superman I've ever seen.
God, that's
and
awesome.
it's just perfect. It's exactly what I wanted it to be. Put a whole bunch of effort in. Spoiler for the listeners, I have a colorist lined up that'll color the scans. And then eventually the person who's currently coloring the book for Dan on Superman has told me that he'd be willing to color it once things slow down a bit after DCKO.
What is your life, man?
I'm gonna get it colored. And the reason why I have to get it colored is because a couple days later I got my Rafa Sandoval piece. And Rafa's, he decided to put a splash of color on it. That's what made it difficult because he couldn't charge for the color because it was only a splash. But you guys have seen the photo. It's quite colorful. The only thing that's not colored is his face because it's a blank, like it's a noir, so you
Yeah.
can't really color it. So I'm quite pleased with that one, and because of that, the Dan just needs a little bit of color, and they'll be balanced. So
How many pieces of original art did you walk out of con with?
So those were two of the three. There was
Okay.
one more. Also, my friend Gigi, who went with me, got a Toka Takoro Jeff, who's currently the interior artist for Jeff the Landshark. So she was very happy with that.
Objectively adorable.
Yep. But the third piece I got, which was also very important. So firstly, the thought process was a Dan kind of mainline Superman. I do have an absolute Superman from Rafa already, but it's not a cover. So I thought it'd be cool to have the two of them, a cover of each, so you could have them kind of beside each other as a two sides of a coin. But the real reason I went for the Rafa is because Dan wasn't there and it was unclear if it was actually going to happen. So, I had a little bit extra comic cash burning a hole in my pocket. And I wanted to cheer myself up while I was devastated. But the other
picture
thing,
in big wads and rubber bands.
Yeah, exactly.
I want original art. God, just take my money.
The other thing that was pre-lined up was soon-to-be friend of the show, Juan Frigeri, was there, who longtime listeners will know is the artist on Ultimates and is killing it. So he did an Ultimate Thor for me, which was awesome. Later in the convention, I was wearing my Ultimate Thor costume. So I went in costume, brought the piece of art. He held the art and the hammer, and we took a couple photos together. He's awesome. He's getting a little tease for you listeners. He's getting very good at English, which in the past, he hasn't come on the podcast because he didn't really want to spend a long time in an English language interview, and
we've asked. Yeah.
We have asked. So, I'll leave it there. He's getting quite good at English. That's all you need to know. But otherwise, we had a great time. We talked about how much Thor means to him. We got some teasers, which I'm happy to reveal on the show by virtue of it was revealed at the Ultimates panel by friend of the show, Will Moss, and hopefully someday friend of the show, Dennis Camp. We will get more Ultimate Thor in Ultimates. And I don't just mean he's going to be in there when Ultimate Endgames happens. There is going to be a second Thor-centered issue to resolve this war for the realms. It's not going to be in prose. It's going to be some other Norse thing that Deniz is really, really, really proud of what he's done, and Will Moss says it's crazy. So during the Ultimates panel, they open it up for questioning. So, of course, in my Ultimate Thor costume, I walked my Ultimate way up to the Ultimate mic, asked my ultimate question. Will recognized me, which was also very fun, because the person who was the host said, "Oh, Saz, is it?" And Will was like, "No, it's Faz. It's with an F, Faz." Yeah, so that's always very good. Then I got to ask my question and go about the business. The guy in front of me asked why they keep fucking up Spider-Man. So I think they were happy to get a real question after that, because he was just very. This was an Ultimate panel, and they were like, "I don't know what you want from me. Hickman's not here. Are you mad about Ultimate Spider-Man?" And he's like, "No, the mainline one." And they're like, "Okay, sorry,
are in the wrong place, dude."
Yeah, I mean, CB Sobalski was there, but that's not really his place, Anyway, so yeah, Ultimates, get excited, guys. There's more Thor coming.
What a weird way to spend your time in line for a question to comic creators that aren't even working on the book you're mad about.
And not even like an hour into a panel about the Ultimate Universe ending.
You know where you're at.
Anyway.
So,
yeah, one for Jerry, real highlight, awesome guy. Would love to speak to him sometime. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Let's see what else happened.
Did you get a picture with Will?
No, he was way up at the they still had 50 people in line after I asked my question, and I didn't want to kind of get in the way. But you didn't
run into him afterwards or anything?
No, he wasn't at a booth or anything, so there wasn't really a chance to. Yeah,
he was just there to get shit done.
He was there to give answers and to explain that they all chose to end Ultimates, and not that there was a rumor going around that Hickman had in his contract that it had to end, so they were forced to do this. But then Hickman came out and gave an interview saying he was surprised they were actually ending it because he didn't think they would. So they had to kind of clarify, why is it ending? And the answer from Dennis Camp is that Peach has finished her story. The Wolverine people are finishing their story. Black Panther people are finishing their story. The only person, Hickman was finishing his Spider-Man, and he was setting it up so people could continue, but his story was ending. The only one that was still going to be around was Dennis Camp, and he realized that he had the opportunity to actually truly end something. So when Will Moss said, "I think we should probably wrap the whole universe," they got really into what they could do with that. So it's really cool, actually. Like Peach has been doing the writing, the pencils, the coloring, the lettering on some of the books for all 24 issues of X-Men.
Jeez.
So she's like doing a manga style schedule of 20 hours a day working on just this book. So she needs to be done. Like she's put her heart and soul into it. Everybody should read that book.
Her style is so intricate too.
Yeah,
like,
and she's doing it all herself. Like there's been no guest anything apart from letterers sometimes, and she has a co-writer to help.
I've heard the co-writer, I think, is her husband.
Yeah.
Because he also works as her translator. Because
yeah.
I don't know if she speaks English or if just like it's not conversational enough to write it, but she like writes her scripts in her native language, and then her husband translates, I believe.
Like legitimately, when you get a comic book, listeners, you see like Aaron, Sandoval, Osseo, Areola, right? Hers just say Peach Momoko on them. That's it.
What a badass thing.
Like she's doing all the things. It's mind blowing, and they all gave a lot of praise for her for doing that. But they're all ready to be done. You know, they've told the stories they want to tell. It's very special, and they could have continued with all new creative teams, but they thought, what if we just end with a bang instead of going on too long, right?
And I'm sure this was touched upon at the panel, but like Ultimates was selling stupid numbers.
Yep. Yeah. It is. They want to be able to show people that we can do these Elseworlds things and bring them to a full story. And then do others. So rather than making, okay, Ultimates is a winner for us, let's milk it for 10 years until people hate it.
Yeah, until people hate it. Yes.
They'll just start a different Elseworlds, right? And go that way again with a creator. And the idea around it was the same as the Absolute Universe, where you pick creators who've always wanted to do something with the character that they can't do in the main continuity.
Right.
And give them the chance to start from scratch and build it up their own way, in a way that's not just a one-off 6-issue Elseworlds book, but is within still a shared story.
Yeah.
And they've gotten to do that in a very cool way. In the same way that Absolute was that Jason Aaron always wanted to tell Superman, but didn't want to tell mainline Superman. He had his own way that he wanted to do it. Or how Scott Snyder did mainline Batman, and he thought to himself, if I could do things differently from scratch, I would do it this way, right? And then got to do it.
And his mainline Batman is still good. Like
it was one of the best ones, right?
He introduced the Court of Owls, and it's great story.
Some incredible Batman from him, but he wanted to, make it his own fully, instead of playing in the sandbox of what Marvel calls the longest never-ending story, right?
Just waiting for Eric to say, who is Batman?
I know who Batman is. Come on.
No.
Eric knows Tim Drake. Come on now.
Eric is a big Ra's al Ghul fan.
Huge Ra's al Ghul fan. Because of Absolute Superman.
Faz, where do you want to go now? Eric, do you want to go off in a direction? What do we have? I feel like we went down an Ultimates rabbit hole.
While we're on Ultimates rabbit hole, I got to meet Dennis Camp.
Right.
He gave me a Fix the World sticker for the Ultimates logo, which is the thing that he's been doing around a lot, which is very cool. We talked about how much I love the work he's doing, how he and Al Ewing are killing it with their social commentary. At one point during the panel, somebody asked them if they were worried that the administration was going to come down on them for their woke ideology. And CB Sobalski said something to the effect of, we're just telling stories. And if you see any sort of resemblance to any of the villains, that's really on you. That has nothing to do with what we're doing. We aren't calling allegories for anything. And then Dennis said, I'm just speaking for myself, but I'm unconcerned were the words that he used. So I gave him props and a high five for standing up to the man in a very cool way. Did the same thing to Al Ewing later. But Dennis talked a bit. We'd asked him on the show before, but unfortunately, his work schedule is very busy with Ultimates, with Absolute Martian Manhunter, and with Assorted Crisis events. So, unfortunately, we can never get him until, maybe some of those books end. And, it's not like Ultimates is ending earlier next year, and it's not like Absolute Martian Manhunter is over, and it's not like Assorted Crisis events might be taking a break soon. No, like it's not like those things will ever happen. So it's not like we'll ever have him on the pod. So we'll just have to wait and see if we ever get the opportunity. But while we're talking Allfathers, he was the ultimate Allfather. We did get to run into the Allfather as well. Now, people will remember from Tales of Fazgard 1. I think it was 1. I met him in a Superman costume. So last year. So when I met him again this year on Thursday in my Superman costume, I was like, I'm not fucking taking a photo with this guy. That is ridiculous. We're not only meeting Al Ewing in Superman. That is ridiculous. So later in the con, on the same the Ultimate Day, I was in Ultimate Thor, and Al Ewing was there. So I got to go and chat with him. I didn't have anything for him to sign. He'd already done that. But we did chat a bit, and I have some more news, listeners, about Thor. Everybody knows that Al Ewing's story is a 50-issue epic. Thor, Mortal Thor, and whatever comes next. Things have changed. The wheel has turned, listeners, and it sounds like we're talking 60 to 70 issues now, depending on how many they need for the trades. So look forward to some more Sigurd Jarlson. It's not going to be like a 5 to 10 issue thing. It sounds like it's going to be a full 25. And then Al teased that he's got something planned after that. Don't know what that means. Sounds very cool, but his story no longer stops at 50. He's got more that he wants to go. So that was awesome. Similarly, we've asked him on the show before. He's never replied to us. I don't think it's going to happen. You know, it would have to be crazy. Like, he would have had to meet me in person and have a good conversation about Thor and then offer to chat sometime. And it's not like that would ever happen. So, like, don't look forward to anything like that. I can't imagine we can ever actually get him. We've tried. It won't happen. He's a magical, mystical man, and we can't get him. But, you know, that's the Allfather. And I think, does that hit all the creators, Ryan? Eric, can you think of anybody else that I met?
That was the big one for me. That knowing that he sounds like he had a booth and he wasn't just relying on people finding him.
This was the first time. Yeah. So
wild.
So last year at the convention, Eric,
where's Aldo?
Great reference. I met him at the Absolute panel, and he told me that he didn't think people would actually want to come to his booth. He just figured, like, because, you know, like, the thing is, like, he doesn't want to charge, right? Like, if DC will get him a booth or Marvel will get him a booth, he'll go. But he doesn't want to charge people for signatures or anything. So he was like, I don't think people want this, so I'm not going to do it. And then when I asked him for a couple autographs after the Absolute panel, like 70 people got in line with me to get autographs with him. And he said to me, okay, I think I'm going to need to get a booth next year. So he did. And they put him in the very back corner of one of the areas. So he wasn't extremely busy because he was very hard to find. And because he's a writer, he didn't have a giant art print behind him or anything. It just said Al Ewing. But there were a lot of people who were very happy to have a place to actually find him, myself included, instead of hunting for the mythical, magical man. Yeah.
Like,
and you know, like a lot of people, like my friend Gigi, Empire is one of her favorite stories. She, like, the Loki series means a lot to her. Like,
his Guardians run was awesome.
And obviously there were a whole bunch of Immortal Hulk people. Like, there's just so much that Al's done. Now his Absolute Green Lantern meant a lot to a lot of people that were in line. Obviously Thor people like me. It was great for him to have that. And again, like, I wish I could have had a conversation with him where I asked him to be on the pod or something like that. But unfortunately, you know, those sorts of things just don't happen.
God, I love you.
Now, he also, to his credit, he did want to take a photo with me, and his only request was, I want Mjolnir. And he took it, and he held it away. Most of the creators were like, can I hold it with you? And Al was like, give me that fucking thing. We're doing this.
Oh, man.
I'm the Allfather is probably what he said, you know.
He is the Allfather indeed.
Now, Faz, has there any progress been made on your museum shrine in the basement? Because I think the last time we talked to you, wasn't it about the Mjolnir prop and your plans for displaying? I don't think you've made any progress on that, have you?
So I have made progress in that I went to Costco and bought all the LED panels for my roof that I have to fix, for my ceiling, I should say. I've got to install all those. My electrician friend that I plan on he's going to help me and we're going to make him dinner and so on and so forth. He had the audacity of having his second child with his wife. So he's busy doing that right now. So because of that, I am delayed. I considered using the Faz Force to delay it a bit to get him in. But that felt a little tough, right? So we will eventually...
More important things than children.
Yeah, so eventually once the lights are fixed, I will put stuff down there. I'm also kind of pivoting my plan a little bit, though. I was originally going to have one wall for all the museum art and one wall for kind of the comic covers. But now I'm thinking that behind me here, where I have this big white wall in my office, I can put up my comic covers there on that one, sort of like what you do, Herc, like almost exactly like how you have it set up, except I might do it slightly differently because I don't know if I have the skills to make them slide in and out like you do. But having it there would be more useful for me because I'm here in my work office more often than I'm in the basement. But I want to protect all of the original art in the basement where there's not as much light. But up here, we can do the comic covers and the sketch covers and stuff like that. That's kind of my new dream, but I've got to, get my shit together and clean up this room so that it doesn't have to be blurry, and then we can do that.
It doesn't. And I would just love to have a room for all this shit.
All right, guy, give it time. The kids will move out. It'll be all right.
You know that's in 10 years, right?
Yep. 10 years is not that long in the grand scheme of things. Think of how many comics you can collect in the meantime, my friend.
Oh my goodness. You do have a very good point. And I look forward to you trying to convince Kim.
Yeah, it's I can be very persuasive.
The battle of
Everybody
wills.
knows that about me. Yeah. Other than that, I think that covers most of New York Comic Con. I'm sure there's things that I'm forgetting because this con is the biggest one.
That's
And
a
it's
lot,
the biggest it's the biggest comic con. Oh, I did a giant cosplay meetup with like 50 of my New York cosplayer friends. Everybody has a different character. It's called the Marvel Nexus meetup. That was really cool. And this wasn't New York Comic Con, but I did pull a plane yesterday in my Superman costume, just for
That was
vibes.
awesome.
It was crashing. Someone had to step in. I just happened to be in the suit at the time, or I didn't even. To be clear, it was in my bag, and I was able to find a phone booth. Which, yes, a phone booth did exist in 2025, and I was able to change and then catch the plane and bring it down safely. So that was a good time. Maybe it was charity for the United Way. Maybe it was me saving a plane from crashing. It's really hard to say. We'll have to check.
Charity for the United Way. Jeez.
But, folks, any other questions before the Oracle asks a few of you two?
Dude, I think you shot your shot. I think that was everything we could have asked for and more. Because I feel like you went over almost an hour just on New York Comic Con.
Yeah, maybe like 45. I'm sure there was some pregame in there, but that's a long time to be Tales of Fazgarding.
Well, it just proves you invest a lot in this fandom, in this hobby, and the reward is every so often you get to do some cool shit.
It's pretty good.
I feel like the few days before we were texting about this like in our group chat, and you were like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty bummed about the whole thing.
So this one really turned around for me. I was like, the two things that I wanted more than anything were Nicholas Hoult and the Dan Mora piece, because Superman has meant a lot to me in the last 6 months. I've read every Dan Mora Superman adjacent property in the last couple of months. I've read all of JLU, I've read all of World's Finest, and I've read all of Superman. And then I've read a bunch of other Superman stories, obviously. But I was really his art means a lot to me for my Superman fandom in the comics. I wasn't really a Superman comic guy until him.
Yeah.
So I wanted that, and him canceling the night before when I was already bummed about Nicholas Hoult was very tough. So part of what made this con so great for me was the switch of the expectations, in that I was in a very sad way. And honestly, what changed it, that I don't know if I told you guys or not, was when we got to New York, we got pooped on by a bird on the shoulder.
Yes.
And I think it had to have been a raven.
I told
you. Odin was with us in this moment, and I think I told I did tell you guys, because you were like, that's perfect, and I was like, nope, everything that could go wrong is going wrong. But instead,
didn't Eric say that's good luck?
Everybody knows it's good luck. It's like
everybody knows it's good luck. But that's what people say when things can't get any worse and you get pooped on a bird. But no, you are correct. Everything flipped from there. And then, it was a very, very gratifying Comic-Con in terms of cosplay, in terms of events. We didn't even talk about the fact that Marvel showed us video from every show coming out next year that is not publicly available yet. Wonder Man, Vision Quest.
Wait, you saw those too?
Yeah. So Wonder Man, X-Men 97 Season 2, Daredevil Born Again Season 2, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man Season 2, and Vision Quest, which looks like the greatest MCU thing I've ever seen.
How could it not be?
It's legitimately mind-blowing. Like the premise, do you guys want like a little bit of light spoiling of what it's going to be? It'll all be in the trailers and stuff.
Yeah.
So Vision is trying to connect with his memories. Red Vision gave White Vision all of his memories, and he has all the pieces now, but he's still an automaton who's not really feeling the way that he should. He needs to connect with them. He knows they're there and he knows they have him, but he doesn't feel like him. So he's inside of his mind discussing with all of the other Stark AIs. So Friday is there, Jarvis is there, Dummy is there. Every AI that there has been is chatting with him about kind of helping him work through his trauma, essentially.
Yeah.
And there's one more AI that's there. What other Stark AI have I not mentioned?
Ultron.
Ultron.
Oh.
Edith's there as well. But Ultron is the answer. And it's not just Ultron. It's James Spader as James Spader, because they're all humanoid. He's not a big robot. He's just James Spader with a big beard, having just great times.
In Vision's mind.
In Vision's mind, kind of like the father figure of Vision. And, friends, like people who like WandaVision know that Billy and Tommy were there and we know where Billy was. And this show is purported to deal with the fact that we don't know where Tommy is. So perhaps there'll be some sort of answer to that as we go through. This is the final in the trilogy that Jack Schaefer planned for Wanda and Vision. So it looked truly mind-blowing. And Paul Bettany told us that the thing that keeps him coming back from Marvel is the boatloads of cash. Yeah. and then he said, no. But in all seriousness, really what it is seeing the number go up in my bank account. And then he was like, no. Okay, I'm just being a dick. No, the best thing is really working with the greatest actor of all time, which I did in WandaVision myself. And then he was like, oh, okay, no. But in all seriousness, when Jack Schaefer writes something, you come running and can't wait to get back into it. So
money, me.
So he's a gem, and he was very funny. And he wasn't at New York Comic Con. He was there just as a surprise for this panel.
Wow.
So it was, and again, because we were VIP, we were in row like 3 for this. So we got to see Charlie Cox was there, Kristen Ritter was there, the X-Men 97 creators from the 80s and 90s were there, and they got to talk about how much it means that they get to tell the story that they meant to tell in the 90s before it was canceled now. The Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man people were there. The head of Marvel TV, Brad Winderbaum, was there. The Wonder Man cast, Yaya was there, and Sir Ben Kingsley.
Really?
Kingsley, is that his last name? Was there?
Yeah, Ben Kingsley.
And that looks really good too. And then Paul Bettany came out to just destroy the panel. And it was like they did the thing where like they started rolling the credits and thanking everybody for coming, and like 20 or 30 people left. And then the host said, have you guys never seen a Marvel thing? And then all of a sudden Vision Quest jumped on the screen and Paul Bettany came out. And they missed it because they were running to their next panel because they thought it was over. They missed the post-credit scene.
Can you imagine being the guy that missed Vision Quest trailer and a Paul Bettany appearance?
Yeah.
Faz, I don't think you understand. I didn't know that you went to any of those things. You just like glossed over it like, oh yeah, and also I did this. I watched like 35-minute long deep dives into like, I wonder what was in these trailers. And
Eric, you and I could have talked. Yeah, I've seen them all.
We could have done this as an episode.
So I didn't want to go line by line with them because there are people out there that have like written down everything that happened and talked about them already that are like actual news people. I didn't want to like spoil for people who don't want to actually know what happened, right? But like we can talk off recording about what happened in detail. Like Daredevil looks incredible. Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man looks even better than the first one. X-Men 97 looked so good. They're all coming out next year, which is great. Like we're getting 4 Marvel shows plus Spider-Man plus Doomsday next year.
It's gonna be a big year.
Big year.
The ratio, I feel like the ratio is good. The TV to movie ratio, I feel like to get a real big movie response, it has to be like a huge project.
Yeah. No, I think that's right. And I think like people are complaining there's too much Marvel, but the way they're doing the shows now, they're all very low budget, right? Like X-Men 97 and Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man don't cost a lot of money to make. Whereas like...
And it's great animation.
And it's great animation, right? And because they're doing it way ahead of time, they actually have time to animate and they're hiring more studios to get it done. Like they're doing things the right way now. It's not like how it was before where it was like, okay, we're going to throw $200 million at this. And if it doesn't work, we'll just do it again and we'll do it again and we'll do it again and it'll work out. Now they're like sticking to a plan. They have showrunners. They can run them lean and mean so that people who want to see them can see them, but not everybody has to see them for them to be a success. And then the movies are sure things. Like, you think Spider-Man 4 is not going to make $1 billion? You think Avengers Doomsday is not going to make $1.5 billion? Come on now, bro. You and I both know we need to see Robert Doomney Jr.
Robert Doomney Jr.
I was gonna say, and this opens up, just this whole model opens up the not to like devolve this into like a Marvel MCU
it's happening
hypothetical, but I just think this model works for the little guy. It works for those small projects that you never thought would be made because they can make it. And if they're not trying to have every person in America see this show, they can make it more niche and make it like this is going to be, you know, catnip for the Vision fans out there. This is going to be, you know, the next best thing for the Daredevil fans. Like, to make it just gives me hope that a lot of these other sort of like smaller side characters might get their time in the spotlight. I mean, a Wonder Man show, who would have thought?
Yeah. Like the premise for Wonder Man is literally in the world of superhero fatigue, one man plans to reinvent the medium, which
Yeah.
is just like very on the nose, right? Like, and like what they learned with Agatha was that it cost a quarter what everything else cost, and it had double the viewership because people actually watched it and loved it, right? So like now they're like, oh, so if it's just really good,
So
the
we'll just
average
make it
viewer will watch it anyway. It's not
really
just
good,
big
yeah.
names and big expenses and big special effects. It's just
Yeah.
if it's very, very well built, then people will be happy. So yeah, no, I think they've done a good job because they've been pretty open about the fact that at first it was we need to bring people to Disney Plus, so let's make as many feature length TV shows as we can. Whereas now it's like if it should have a show, we'll do it, and if it does well, we'll do a season 2. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
need to end now, right? Like all of these things that we talked about, apart from Wonder Man and Vision Quest, which Vision Quest is really a season 3 if you think about it.
It really is.
The rest of them are sequels, right? Like it's no longer a we do one and then you'll maybe see them in a movie 10 years from now. They will actually go, and it's pretty good.
Right. Wow. I feel like we got a lot there, Eric. A lot of little tidbits that became a meal and then a feast.
I mean, I meant it as a one-off, like, oh yeah, the Marvel panel was good too. I didn't even think in my brain that it would cause 15 more minutes of Tales of Fazgard. But listeners, this isn't just a Tales of Fazgard for me. The Fazgard, the Oracle, the Allfather would like to hear what my guys are up to. So, my guy Ryan Doze, you were drinking beer with Christians, weren't you? Do you want to tell me about that?
That was maybe the most hard turn into a boring take ever. By the way, Vision Quest looks great. All this kind of stuff. And Ryan drank some beers with religious people. What? Oh my God. So yeah, real quick. This last weekend, a couple of weeks ago at the time you're probably listening to this, listener, Will Rose and I, who's not able to be with us tonight, but he and I attended Theology Beer Camp, who it's done by a friend of ours named Trip Fuller. We love, it's one of the highlights of my year. I get to see some friends that I only get to see once a year. It was in Minneapolis this year, and really enjoy Minneapolis when I've gotten to go up there. It's a beautiful city, and apparently when I came back to Nebraska, I told people like, Minneapolis was awesome. It was beautiful, and people were like, wasn't it on fire and in the throes of war? And I was like, actually, I just thought the changing of the leaves was nice and the Mississippi River looked cool. And they were like, oh, that's not what I've heard. And I was like,
no, that's ground zero for the war.
Okay, cool. I had a good time. But you know, the camp was great. We got to do some fun stuff. Will and I help out with a stage that we do that intersects pop culture and more like spiritual, religious themes. It was good. Kim and I, my wife Kim and I, got to do a Harry Potter panel with I'm just going to say a very attractive British man named Casper, who he and Kim hit it off. And I was like,
Wanda Jorge Jimenez, how attractive was he?
He was, how do I say this? He was like subtly very, very charming and handsome. And I was like, oh, you smooth operator, you. Anyway, that was a lot of fun. Kim finally got to do a panel at this conference, which was a dream of hers. She's been fighting for 3 years.
Yeah, how did she like beer camp? Does she go every year?
She goes every year. We've gone 4 years in a row. Kim and I always go. The kids went with us this year, which was very new. But they had fall break, and none of the grandparents were available to watch. So they went with us. They had a blast. And they got to meet Uncle Will for the first time. So that was great. Will was quite possibly the best babysitter we've ever had, because he got to pour all of that energy out in hanging out with them for a few different times when Kim and I had some stuff to do. But the highlight, so for comic book fans, the highlight of this trip every year is Will and I, and maybe some other people come with us, but it's always Will and I at least. We go to a local comic book store in the city we're in. And last year we went to Mile High Comics, which is the largest comic book store in America. And it was fine, but Will and I kind of left a little deflated because it was just a giant warehouse with comics.
Oh.
That's it. like the customer service was, I'm going to say, non-existent.
In Minnesota? Isn't that the customer service?
Last year in Denver.
Oh,
last
in
year
Denver. Okay.
And it was like the location was just dingy and gross. It was not, it was nothing to write home about. And this year, I just kind of pulled out of a hat. Like, I just Google searched, and the top two places that came up, I looked, and one was called Comics College. And it was nearby, so we went. And when we pulled in, the exterior, I turned to Kim. I was like, "Oh no, I burned us again," because it was the exact same type exterior, cinder block building with a side staircase, like it just a completely white building, and it just said comics over one like corner. And I was like, "Oh legit. My gosh, we're gonna get mugged here. This is terrible." We walk in, and it's me, Kim, Will, and Lily and Logan, my two kids. And it was the greatest interaction at a comic book store I've ever had.
What's it called?
Comics College in St. Paul, Minnesota. The staff was actually, I don't mean this in like, oh, the guys at my comic book store are really friendly. We talk about the same 5 things every time. Like, he actually was, the employees were good at customer service, not just shooting the shit with their buddies. Like the guy, we walked in, he introduced himself. He got up from his seat. What? A comic book seller got up from his seat and walked us around the store, and he was like, here's some of our trades. Here's our new issues. It was phenomenal. And Will and I took some pictures that definitely made Faz happy. We found an Ultimate Store poster, and Will specifically insisted that he put his finger where he put it. Delightful. We also, so we were looking for new issues. I got my copy of DCKO and latest issue of World's Finest. There were so many good. I haven't been to a comic book store in a minute, and I was like, oh my gosh, so many books I want, but I have a budget. Two things that we found while we were there. I'll send you guys this picture. I can't believe I haven't sent it to you yet. But I actually found back issues of Robert Kirkman's Battle Pope.
Oh.
And I said, well, I found Battle Pope. And he's like, don't show me.
Longtime listeners of Across the Bifrost will know that Ryan's favorite Marvel character is the Crusader because he sees himself in him. So as you can imagine, he also really loves Battle Pope.
Oh my gosh.
No.
I heard it on a podcast. It must be true.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? 3 white guys said it on a podcast about comics. It must be true. So the last thing was, as we're walking out, I only picked up 2 issues, and I was like, everything else is is in the middle of a run, or I have it in my pull box back at home. I was like, I'll just get DCKO and the World's Finest, and it'll be good. It'll be good. Whatever. As we're leaving, I see Kim has something she's buying, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. We walk out. We talked to the employees. They were awesome. I gave them my email in case they ever want to come on the show and talk about comics, and told them about the show. And they seemed very excited about that. And we walk out the door, and Kim hands me the bag of the thing that she had bought. And she found a Beta Ray Bill Funko that I've never ever seen before. And it made me so happy. It's not a piece of original art from New York Comic Con, but my wife looked at that.
We love the horse on Across the Bifrost.
She looked at that, and she's like, there's no way I'm leaving. There's no way you're leaving without this. And she hands it to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, my wife is awesome. But yeah, so like that Comics College, St. Paul, Minnesota, Will and I had a great time keeping up the tradition of comic book shopping for one time every year together. And it's one of my favorite moments every time we go on this trip. There you go, Faz. You got it. Any other follow-up questions?
I think I'm so to quote the Red Guardian, I'm so filled by that by that story.
How spicy were your wings? Did you eat wings, or was it just hot sauce straight out of the bottle?
So what Eric is referring to, listeners, is some friends of ours who are they're feminist theologians. They do this this challenge every year. They do the Hot Ones challenge from the YouTube show, and they had just gotten all the 10 brand new sauces. And Will was originally going to do this panel with them. Will was not feeling well, so I said, "Hey, dude, I'll fill in for you, and I'll do it." I have no desire to do this, but I also
I didn't know that you could handle spicy things like that.
Neither did I. Neither did I. So our two friends, they're like, when guys wuss out on stuff, they are incredibly like harsh and funny about it. And halfway through the challenge, they were like, "Why are you doing?" Or people in the crowd were like, "Why are you doing this?" I'm like, "Because I don't want to end up on their hate list one day." So I got through the whole challenge. I will not lie, guys. It was bad. Like, it was bad.
Like painful?
Painful. My whole body was tingling.
Oh.
So not in that way, even. It was not in the good way. But the third to last sauce was more of a paste, and that one sucked because it stuck around.
Oh yeah, no, that's not good.
If you look up the hot sauce, their new number 10 sauce is called the Last Thermageddon, and it combines 4 peppers like Scorpion, Apollo, Pepper X, and one other pepper. I feel like I accomplished something that I didn't even know I was capable of, because that last wing sucked to high heaven.
Yeah, that doesn't sound fun.
It was awful, but I did it.
You did it.
So I did it. Now I know I can do it.
So you got all the way through all 10?
All 10.
Wow. You're so much cooler than me now.
Kim, before the thing, Kim was like, "Are you sure this is a good idea?" I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea, but I'm not going to wuss out at this point. I'm just going to do it.
You've committed. You just got to suffer the consequences at that point.
Yeah, I mean, at 2:00 in the morning the next day, I friggin' hated my existence.
Oh God, that's info I didn't need to know. This oracle
come
may
on,
be all
you had
knowing.
to know that was part of the story.
I just kind of hoped that you'd breeze past that. With that amount of beer and that amount of spicy wings, I can't imagine it's a fun weekend.
Well, the thing that saved me, man, was we had a soft serve ice cream machine there, and all of us had these big, Trip gives everybody that goes to the camp a big like glass to have their beer in. And this year they did a Stein with a big old handle. And me, our friends Leah and Christy, they were just handing them we're handing Kim the Steins as she's sitting in the front row. Was like, "Please get us ice cream." Now I ate 2 mugs of ice cream just to get through this. So just
my lactose intolerant body is now hurting just hearing this story.
Dude, seriously, it was an accomplishment, but it was not a glamorous accomplishment. I was sweating and just, I don't know, dude. It was definitely something I'm proud of doing. I don't want to do it again, but
yeah. Well, I'm glad you've done it once, because now you never have to do it again, and you have video evidence that it happened.
I do. That's going to come out as a podcast, by the way, and you guys should definitely listen, because it is a side of me that is very funny.
I mean, that's the whole basis of what Sean Evans does, right? Like it lowers the inhibitions because you're too busy trying not to die, right? So, and just like the Hot Ones show, we were doing a Q&A the entire time, and I got a Thor question. Cool. And did you admit that you're really more of a Volstagg fan, or really more of a Beta Ray Bill fan, or something? Did you blaspheme?
No, it wasn't. It was not coming from someone who was that nuanced. I think it was Will just trolling me, because they were all written down, and then we picked them out of a box. But it was like, who's the best Thor and why?
And so did you say Jane?
Oh, I said Jane.
Yeah, of course you did.
And it was good though. It was good.
You didn't say Thor girl? Tareen, the designate? You didn't say that?
I feel like that was not going to happen. Red Norvell, why not?
Oh,
he helped stop Ragnarok twice. Way more important than the Walt Simonson Thor. Yeah.
I have a little soft spot in my heart for him, though. This is going to be in Deific Duo Part 5, because it's just outside of the Part 4.
Yeah,
we revisit Red.
Yeah. Yeah. Eric, we can't fix him. It's too late. He's done enough bad stuff. Okay, Ryan, anything else on the camp of beers, or shall I pivot to my illustrious...
No, it was a lot of fun. I look forward to doing it next year. There are some rumors going around about what we're going to... I'll put it this way. Oh, God.
You probably can't tease this the way that I've teased it. It's too...
No. We'll put it this way. I'll put it this way. There is a we're going to try to shoot our shot in a big way for beer camp next year. And I really hope it follows through, because it would be a lifelong dream. Put it that way. And I can tell the gents more off camera. And when things become more available and I can share more, I will definitely share more, because I think it's something worth getting very hyped about if our desired result comes to fruition. So there, I have adequately teased. And here's Paul Bettany. No.
Well, thank you for that. You've like I said, I'm so full. I'm so filled. Now I'd like to turn the Oracle, the all Fazgard. I'd like to turn to the last of the three of us. Eric, do you have any tales of Fazgard for us today?
How could I have a tale of Fazgard? I would have
you know, when they do a big book and like there's the main story and then two stories behind it. That's what we're doing right now. We
all have a little Faz in all of us.
Yeah, I like to think our time together has changed you, and that there's a little piece of me in you at all times. You know.
Stop.
So, I mean, I don't have any like monumental stories, but I have been chipping away at my Thor collection. So I'm trying to collect every Legacy Thor comic. I'm kind of interested to see if I could collect them all around the same time that I have read them all. Wouldn't that be cool? That's probably too expensive.
You're going to have a very expensive 6 months if that's the plan.
That would be like...
Put in those extra hours, man.
Put in those extra hours. But I am, I'm doing some dollar bin diving. I do a shotgun approach of just anywhere I can find stuff. I'll get some issues from my main LCS, which they're a little bit more expensive there. I've literally seen, no shade to them, but like I've literally seen they're still in the bag from Half Price Books, and the $1.50 is crossed off and it says $4. And sometimes I'll still buy those because I'm like, well, it's right here.
You got to support the local one. Yeah.
Yeah. But then I go to a bunch of I look for dollar bins, which it's easier to find dollar bins in the city than it is in the suburbs. And then I'll just buy some stuff on eBay. I like doing combined shipping on eBay. I'll find like some big sellers that have multiple different issues, and I'll ship like 5 at the same time. And I'll do a mix of some Volume 1. I'm still chipping away at a little bit of Jason Aaron, God of Thunder. But I'm up to, let's see, if I just count from Journey into Mystery 83 on, then I have 79.7% of all existing Legacy number Thor comics.
The way you said that makes me need to back up a bit. Are you collecting Journey in the Mystery 1 to 82?
No.
Okay, I was going to say
if I was, I would be at 71%. I just have the stats broken out like
79% makes sense. You can't. Don't collect Journey into Mystery.
I don't. Nobody needs those. The big spider stories and the original like.
Don't even collect the ones after 502 before Volume 2, where it's just like Thor's gone, but we have other stories to tell. You don't need to collect that either. That's not Thor.
I'm not going to.
Amazing. 79%. You're almost in an A- range in Canada. I don't know how your letter curves.
I'm at a C plus. No, I'm almost at a B in the States here. I'm doing it in sort of like an opposite order from Luke with Journey into Thunder, because I think he's got a lot more of the Journey into Mystery, the first ones. Like I think he's got the entire set in like a 4.0 or something like that. I was watching his YouTube channel.
If he already has those, why is he not just like splurging on completed sets of the other runs at this point? Because
which is a very efficient way to do it. That's how I got Fraction. I bought all of Fraction in just one shipment. I was like, just give me all of it.
I did Simonson in like 3 shipments or something, and it was very doable that way because you save so much money bulking it.
You find them, and it's fun to kind of piece it together. You stumble across something in a dollar bin. That's incredibly exciting to be like, oh, this fills the hole. It's the one I'm missing, something like that. But yeah, it is also very efficient to just be like, I need issue number 112 and I'm just going to purchase it, and it shows up
Yeah.
and it's fantastic. So
You referenced Luke there, Eric. I've thought this for a long time. We should have Luke on the show.
Yeah.
Like, it makes no sense why we haven't, but I guess it's always slipped my mind when I think of it.
We should do a Thunder Buddies recording where we get like 8 people that are friends of the
that
show
sounds
that
awesome.
that are all like, people
Thunder
that are like that. Yeah,
Buddies.
like, you know, get Alex back, bring in Luke. There's a bunch of people that we could bring in for it. Yeah.
A big old
Thunder Buddies.
like Thor round table.
Yeah.
Send out the call.
Except that I would just be, if we had Luke on, I'd just be jealous. I think he is a really good auction bidder. He's got a price in his mind and he's like, I want to get this book
he knows what it's worth.
And I'm just like, if I see it, I'll just buy it if I feel like it. I mean, I don't know if that's a good price or bad price, but can I afford it and do I want it? And so I'm not as efficiently going through as I think he did. But I only need 38 Journey into Mystery. I need 58 Thor Volume 1. I still need 40 issues of Jurgens, and I need 7 issues of God of Thunder. But I have everything from Jane Foster Thor on, and my longest unbroken streak is 315 issues of Thor back to back.
Jesus.
Eric, that's so cool. And the fact that you're obviously collecting the real ones. So because of that, you're going to be like the real ones, the ongoing ones. So because of that, you're always going to have all of the Thor ones.
Right. You're going to get to a point where you'll always have 100%. Well, once you get there.
Once I have to buy, Thor's first appearance still. And so that's
Loki's
fair
first
enough.
appearance.
Loki's first appearance, Thor's first appearance. You can do it. I mean, I'm going to end up getting. I mean, you could get like $1,000 copy that's shredded, but it counts, right? Like that's the first appearance of Thor, and you could own it. So it's not everything has to be like $50,000.
For anybody for any partners who might be listening and say their name is Chris, and I can't imagine they're still listening an hour and 30 minutes into this podcast if he does listen to us sometimes. But if he is, that is a perfect Christmas present, if I had to guess.
It could go under any of the 7 trees, and it would be a fantastic present.
It would probably. I think if that happened, you would cry, right? I would cry in that scenario. I think there's no way around being happy. A real Journey into Mystery 83 like that.
I mean, it's the Holy Grail.
Yeah, like I have a golden record reprint, which is beautiful, but I don't think that counts for what you're doing, Eric. I think it needs to be more real than that.
Yeah, it's got to be the original one. So. That's the idea anyway. And I have the rest of my life to collect this. It's not like I'm in a hurry, but just chipping away at it. So that's my update. Just some comic stuff.
Well, that's an awesome update. I think we've all had a very good comic time. We've crossed the Rainbow Bridge together in a very interesting way, where we've had a main issue that covered a bunch of crazy shit and a bunch of reveals. We had a nice backup story checking in with 2 of our favorite people, and we had a nice, more close to home plea for Chris to please buy Eric Journey into Mystery 83.
He's not listening to this. He's not. There's no conceivable way.
No universe where that's happening.
Ryan can wait. Does he run the Indie Pizza blog account with you, or is that just you?
Yeah, we both did that.
Yeah, so Ryan could send just this audio to the Indie Pizza blog and
just
make sure
snip it.
It'd be like, Chris, I know we've never spoken before, but
you should spend thousands of dollars on something for Eric.
He did not tell me to send this to you, but
he actually actively told us not to. We really care. Yeah.
He insisted that it go to something much more meaningful and sensible.
Mm-hmm. Like an 8th Christmas tree.
Something sensible.
Eric, it would be incredible if at some point you had, like, I don't know what number we're going to settle on. If you had 9 Christmas trees for the 9 worlds of Yggdrasil.
Although there's 10 now. Because
I know, but it's still hard for me to get that in my brain.
I just think it's an excuse to have double-digit Christmas trees.
Yeah.
And each one can be themed. You could have a Jotunheim themed one and a Nilfheim themed one.
And,
tree. Yeah, Muspelheim, like cool. A fiery tree. Yeah.
Yeah. You at some point you have to light a tree on fire. There is a drawback.
No. You have to spend extreme amounts of money on LEDs that mimic flames, so that it looks like it's on fire, but it's not actually on fire.
It's It's like we're trying to talk Eric into bankruptcy.
You know what you could do is you could get 10 ornate, custom designed Christmas trees.
The trees don't have to be custom designed, just the decorations. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah, come on,
You
come
know.
on, man. Faz, you want to take us out of here?
Sure, guys. I think we've hit on what we needed to. This was a very successful Tales of Fazgard. I don't think we've had one this long before, so we can call this a special sized anniversary fourth legacy number issue. Can't even imagine how long 5 has to be to make up for that, because that's much more of a fancy number. But guys, no matter where you are, whether you are meeting copious amounts of All Fathers and Al Fathers, whether you're having an ultimate time at a Comic-Con, whether you are meeting up with friends that you've had for a long time online and making them real, whether you're catching up with friends that you only get to see every so often, whether you're going to a new comic book store and getting to enjoy real hospitality from the good people of Minnesota, whether you're eating far too many spicy wings, shitting your brains out, and then eating enough ice cream to kill the Fazgardian.
Talk about it.
Whether you are collecting literally every issue of the most important superhero of all time and sort of pressuring your spouse into contributing to this, but in a way that they'll probably never actually hear it. We just want you guys to do one thing, and that is to stay.
Whosoever holds this hammer, if it be worthy,